Sir Gawain and the Green Knight continues. At that moment it occurred to Gawain that if this were true, he could not be hurt by the Knight of the Green Chapel, so he agreed to take it, and she put it into his hands. She kissed him and made him promise not to tell her husband. When Bersilac returned that evening, Gawain, resplendent in a turquoise surcoat, trimmed with ermine, went to meet him. Putting his arms around him, he kissed him on both cheeks. "I am afraid I have little to offer in return," said Bersilac. "All I found today was this," and he threw on the floor the stiffened corpse of a little shabby fox. Then the whole company spent a roistering evening singing songs and telling stories, and Gawain again thanked his host for all his hospitality. They embraced in pledge of their friendship, and before parting for the night, Bersilac promised to send a servant to accompany Gawain to the Green Chapel. The next morning was overcast and cold. The wind whistled from the hills, and snow fell in freezing drifts. Shivering in the grey dawn, Gawain dressed quickly, being careful to tie the silk girdle about his waist. He mounted Gringolet and clattered over the drawbridge, followed by his guide. The two men rode in silence through the icy woods until the guide stopped suddenly. "Sir Gawain, we are almost at the Green Chapel, but I implore you not to go further. This is a wild and dangerous place, and the Green Knight is a terrible man. He has the strength of 5 and is a savage killer. Few men meet him and live to tell the tale. To continue on this path means certain death." I am grateful for your warning," replied Gawain coldly, "but I am no coward. There is no power on earth that will keep me from my encounter with the Green Chapel." "So be it," said the guide. "Here is your helmet and your lance. If you follow the narrow track between those rocks, you will come to the chapel." Gawain spurred on Gringolet, riding right down into the ravine, but he saw no sign of any dwelling, only great jagged boulders rising up on either side. Then he caught sight of a little grass-covered mound. "Is this what I am looking for?" he thought, dismounting to examine it more closely. It seemed deserted, a small, evil-looking hummock with an opening at either end. As Gawain walked round it, he heard a whirring, rushing noise coming at him from all sides. "Who's there?" cried Gawain, startled. "Stay where you are, and stand to receive the blow which I promised you." With these words the Green Knight appeared on top of the hummock, whirling round his head a great axe, its shining blade honed to a deadly edge. "Welcome, Sir Gawain," said the knight, descending the hummock. "I see you are a man of your word. Remove your helmet. It is my turn to take aim at you." Obediently, Gawain took off his helmet and knelt before the knight, his head bowed. With all his strength the Green Knight brought the axe whistling down, but just in time Gawain shrank slightly to one side so that the blade missed him by a hair. "What?" bellowed the knight. "Are you afraid? I never flinched when I knelt before you. Surely you are not such a coward as to try to escape your due." "I shall not move the next time," Gawain said penitently. "If my head falls to the ground, I shall not flinch." "Have at you, then!" cried the knight fiercely, brandishing his axe and making as if to bring it down. But at the last second he held back. "Now I shall put the test of courage of one of King Arthur's famous knights. Now I shall see what kind of man you are." "Stop threatening me and strike your blow," said Gawain angrily. "You have my word, I shall not flinch." So up went the axe, and down it flashed on the white skin of Gawain's neck. Although savage, it was a glancing blow, which caught him only on the side of the neck. When Gawain saw the blood spurt on the snow, he jumped to his feet, snatching up his sword and shield. Never in his life had he felt so light of heart. "Enough!" he cried. "Our bargain is complete. You cannot touch me now." "Be calm," replied the knight. "Our pact is concluded. Had I intended, I could have done you much greater harm. Twice I pretended to strike, and that was for the 2 evenings when you kept your word and made a true exchange, giving me the kisses my wife had given you. The 3rd time I gave you a little cut to reprove you for concealing from me the silken girdle you have about your waist, for I know it all your flirtation and kissing, for it was I who set my wife to test you. I sent her to see if you were in truth a perfect knight, but your faith was flawed. You broke your word." Gawain stood as though stunned, and the blood rushed to his face. "I have betrayed the code of chivalry. I am not worthy to be called knight," he said bitterly. In an agony of shame, tugging loose the girdle, he flung it to the ground and turned to go, but the knight laughed and held him back. "Ha ha ha! No, Gawain, you have done penance by withstanding my blow. You have confessed your guilt, and now you are as pure as if you had never been at fault. As for the girdle," he picked it up and held it out, "accept it as a gift from me. Wear it as a token of your trial." "I thank you, sir," said Gawain with dignity. "I will take the girdle as a reminder of my frailty. Should I be tempted to be proud, one look at this will humble me again. And now, I have a last favour to ask you, that you tell me your name, and who you are." "I am Bersalak, of Hart Desert. I am in the power of Morgan le Fay, whose witchcraft transforms me into the Green Knight, whom you see before you now. She it was who sent me to Camelot to challenge the renowned of the Round Table. She is the old woman you saw accompanying my wife." Then Bersalak begged Gawain to return with him to the castle, but Gawain refused, thanking him for his kindness. He set off for Camelot, the green girdle tied across his breastplate for everyone to see. Arthur and Guinevere and all their court welcomed him joyfully, eager to hear the full account of his adventure. Gawain left out nothing, and when he finished, Arthur praised him and decreed that every knight present should wear a green silken girdle as a badge of the highest honor and purity of heart. And that's the end of the story of Sir Gawain and the Green Knight.